We need it. Oxygen. It's why we breathe it.
Well, hello, Danielle. Thanks so much for coming to our show today. We're always excited to have guests come on and tell us their stories. So, first of all, I'm curious, you've got a really cool name, the Soul Aligned Ghostwriter. How did the title come up? What does this mean?
Well, Loralyn, I have a background in journalism and digital marketing. And when I was pregnant with my son several years ago, I decided to have my own business and become a book coach and editor. And a year or two later, I had this amazing business coach. We were having this conversation about ghostwriting. And I came up, as well as she did, with the name, the Soul Aligned Ghostwriter, to really get to the bottom of people's vulnerable truths and their stories. And in that time, I have also received a quantum energy healing certification. So I have a combination in my process of logic and spirituality.
I love that connection because I can imagine so many people that want to come forward and write their books probably delve in the genre of memoirs or describing things as a process that's cathartic for them so that they can get out whatever trauma they've had and put it to words. Is that really where it all comes together for you, Danielle?
Yeah. And what happens is that when somebody comes to me, especially with memoir, it can be difficult to reopen those traumatic wounds. And I have a variety of tools in my toolbox, I say, to help them stay with their vulnerable truths and be able to put them on the page. A lot of my clients cry with me on calls. It's very, very common. And it can be a difficult process, but extremely rewarding.
All right. So there's a few things in there that I really want to break down because that was a lot.
Yeah.
So, number one, there's gazillion books self-published a year. So, and you've got this marketing and journalism and writing background, which is fantastic at how it comes all together. How do you help your clients get their books out there and get noticed?
Absolutely. So what I do, what I focus on is the writing itself in the ghostwriting capacity. However, with the writing comes questions such as, what are your goals? What are your overall messages that you want to share in the book? And who is your target audience? And these questions undoubtedly relate to the marketing of the book. So we talk about how they're going to market what they want to say before they even say it. Because if we don't have that marketing in place, it's going to be a lot more difficult to then market the book after the writing is accomplished. In terms of my role after the writing is accomplished, there are a few different options that I give to my clients. I do offer publishing consultations to my ghostwriting clients. I don't necessarily publish myself. However, I have partners who do. So I have project managers, I have other editors, graphic designers, Kindle formatters who I refer business to on a regular basis. I also have relationships with hybrid publishers and some literary agents. So what I do is we talk about those goals and the messages in depth towards the beginning, not only to figure out the marketing, but also to figure out how they're going to go about the publishing process and to break that down so it's easy to digest for my clients.
All right. So one of the other things that comes up with this is, how do you take someone, they've got this vision for what they want to be able to share. They've most likely experienced some form of trauma in their lives, as we all have by the time we cross the age of 10, right? There's things that happen. Talk to us just a little bit high level, maybe just a couple of key steps, what you do with the process to get people through, because maybe some people in our audience have never written a book and they're wondering, well, I don't know, do I engage a ghostwriter? What's all that about? How does it work?
So in terms of whether or not you want to engage a ghostwriter, I like to talk about a few different factors, and we'll just break them down very, very quickly for your audience. So I would encourage you to consider your time, energy, money, and knowledge, those 4 areas of your life, and figure out what you want to outsource and what you want to do yourself. If you want to outsource and spend money on a service, that's okay, but you're going to spend more money and less time and energy. And then you're going to have less of a knowledge bank on that particular subject. If you want to learn something new and you want to learn how to write the book yourself, you can absolutely do that, but know that it's going to take a lot more of your time and energy.
Well, that I think helps it all. So let's get to really the heart of this podcast, right? We've got 2 key components. One, the killer question, right? What's the grittiest thing you've ever experienced on your journey of entrepreneurship? And then, of course, at the end, we have our signature shoe question, but we'll save that one for right now. So, Danielle, what's the grittiest experience you've had here as an entrepreneur?
The grittiest experience I have ever had is most likely when I experienced a layoff. It was the first time I was laid off from the Tribune, and I was in a mass layoff. It was a dream job that I had. It was my first job out of college, and I thought I would be there forever. And it took a lot of courage to accept that that was what was happening and accept what was going to happen next in my career journey.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, especially also a very timely thing. You look at, as much as the job reports these days are posting, oh, look, record jobs. And then all of these employers are saying, I can't find bodies, what do I do? But then there's the flip side and also the human side. There are hundreds of thousands of people who have lost their jobs over the last couple of years, millions even. And so it's a traumatic thing, and people have to work through it and find their own ways. So related to that, can you talk to us a little bit about how you've changed on this journey of entrepreneurship?
I have developed a lot more confidence, and I think that there are 2 key components of being an entrepreneur. I think it's your mindset, and I think it's your confidence level. Because what happens to me, and it still happens to me, is I meet people and they say, hey, can you do X, Y, or Z? Do you have experience with that? And what I do is I say yes or no. And then I say, but that sounds really fun, and I would really love to help with X, Y, or Z. And I'm confident that I can deliver that. And I'm honest about what I know and what I don't know, but I'm also honest about saying, I'll figure it out. And I think that's the heart of an entrepreneur. I used to be a lot more hesitant to say those words, but now I have learned over the course of time, it's okay to say, I'll figure it out.
And then you can, right? Because you are determined to succeed, not just on your behalf, but on your client's behalf. So yeah, you'll figure it out. And I know that that can be really taxing too, because I've found myself in, well, more than one pickle over the years on my journey of entrepreneurship. I'm like, what? What the, are you really? No, NFW, right? And you're thinking, this is not happening. I can't do this. But then you calm down and you go, okay, I'll take another look and I'll figure it out, right?
Exactly. Or you look at your plate, you look on your calendar and you're like, how the heck am I going to get all of these things done? You always do. You always do. You can always figure it out. I have stayed up till 3 a.m. to finish manuscripts, to be on deadline, because I promised a deliverable to a client and I intend to finish it. Is that sustainable long term? Probably not, but you learn so much when you do those things. And when you look at your calendar and when you say, wow, how am I going to manage my time this week? How am I going to manage my time in the next couple of quarters, right?
And for me, so that resonates with me as I just came up, went to bed a couple of hours ago, and then here we are. And no, it is not sustainable. But for me, in that whole thing, I need that firecracker up my backside. And I get into my zone, right? My zone of creative genius. And I go, okay. I've got 4 hours. Make your magic happen. And then just like something turns on in my brain and then I get it done, even though I
Yeah.
had 2 weeks to get it done before. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, not going to happen till now.
Right. And you get into flow. You get into
Right.
that flow state. Yeah.
Exactly. This is a friend of mine, she calls it her zone of creative genius. And I love that because that really is what it is. And you talk about these midnight oil sessions. I'm in a class at the SBA with a group of gals. There's 12 of us, all female founders. And it was the night before we had to come in and do our practice pitch and practice presentation about everything that we've changed in our business as a result of the class and all this sort of good stuff. Do you know it was 1 a.m. and I had put a note out, a couple other people put a note out. We were on our WhatsApp group chat. Half of us were chatting. And so we were sending pictures of owls and going, right? Because there's a lot of midnight owls. So it was kind of funny. It's what it takes. And then I asked other people, some men in my inner circle, and they said, well, why would all these women stay up all the time? I said, because they have mom duties too. And they're trying to run businesses. And so you got to get it done sometime, and you got to get it done when the kids are sleeping.
Yep. 1,000%. Yep. It's the nap time hustle, right?
Exactly. And so when I think about kids, and you hear that from a lot of my other guests on the show, I ask them about their kryptonite. What takes you out at your knees?
What takes me out at my knees? I would say that my kryptonite is
Talk to us instead about the kinds of things that you think entrepreneurs really have to go through it to understand themselves. There's so many of these lessons out there that you can read all the blogs, watch all the YouTube videos, take the master classes, do all of that stuff. And until you are in it, you have absolutely no freaking clue what you're in for. You really don't.
right.
Talk to us about some of those things that you may have experienced that you want to give some advice to other entrepreneurs or other book writers.
I would say, in terms of the advice I have, you need to figure out what works for you. You need to stay in your zone of genius. And there are a lot of different ways to do that. There isn't just one right way. You don't have to be in the Midnight Oil Club. You don't have to be in the 5 a.m. club. You can be in your own club of what works for you. And I encourage everybody to experiment and do trial and errors to see what is going to work for you. I, for example, just started a couple of months ago getting up at 4:45 a.m. and I am working out and I am exercising more. And you know what? Exercise has been helping me to concentrate and deliver really great, wonderful materials to my clients. It also gives me the confidence to be a great mom because I have 2 young kids as well. And I am able to spend that time on myself. So, it's like that airplane analogy where you have to put the mask on yourself before anybody else. And that's what I encourage everybody to do is figure out, especially if you don't have a lot of time to yourself, figure out what does a 5-minute walk look like? What does 5 to 10 minutes to yourself a day? What does that look like? How can you utilize your time and energy efficiently to really be your best self?
Here, right? Again, you hear that advice and then you're like, okay, I'll find a way, right?
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah, it's tough. Well, let's turn the tables here. Danielle, how can our audience help you, the soul aligned ghostwriter? How do we find you? How do we help you?
Thank you. Well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So look me up, Danielle Perlin-Good. It's Danielle Perlin-Good, Perlin. And you can also look me up on my website, thesoulalignedghostwriter.com. I actually have an amazing new accountability group that is going to be starting in the beginning of August. And it's a very, very low investment. It is specifically for you if you are working on a book and you need that accountability factor. So I have a lot of different services that I provide depending on what the person's needs are. So I like to look at all of this from a support standpoint. So I encourage all of the book writers out there to figure out what you really want from the process and what help you really need to get your book done. What do you need to get your draft done? Is it just you preventing yourself? Is it the fact that you need to take classes? You need to improve your writing craft? What is it that you need help with? Or is it time and energy and you need a ghostwriter, which is totally fine as well. So I encourage everybody to really sit down and think for a couple of minutes of what type of support they need. And I would love to connect with all of you through my website and LinkedIn.
All right, so you heard it here from Danielle Perlin-Good. Take a look, find her on LinkedIn or go to thesoulalignedghostwriter.com. All right, last question. We're bringing it home here, Danielle. This is the signature question. Woo, 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 woo. So we're going to go up into your bedroom closet. We're going to look at all of the footwear you have in there. And you are going to describe for our audience which footwear, boots, shoes, sandals, whatever it is, that's in that closet of yours that best personifies you, who you are. It represents certain aspects of your personality that, like, yeah, those shoes, those boots, whatever they are so me because why?
I love that question. I still have these sparkly kitten heels that I wore at my wedding, and the heels are a little worn, and I love that about them because they're not new. And I think that there's something really beautiful about understanding where you came from, accepting your past, and knowing that you are creating a beautiful future. And, the sparkles are the gratitudes that we have on a daily basis and being grateful for things. I, for instance, had not the best day yesterday. And before I went to bed, I still sat and I said to myself, okay, what are the 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for today? And I encourage everybody to do that as well. And that's really what these shoes represent to me. It's gratitude.
Ooh, I love that. I didn't have you pegged as a glitter girl as I am. Like I said, glitter is not a phase, right? Like I have this sign downstairs in my office. No, I have rows of shoes, of glitter shoes. Like if you looked at my closet, it would be really hard to pick which one that I'm most drawn to because they all sparkle. So with that, thank you so much again for your time today and being on our show. Danielle Perlin-Good, the soul aligned ghostwriter. So all of you out there, if you're thinking about writing a book, do it. Get it started. Then if you get stuck, you know where to go. There's resources for you. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you so much for having me.
Don't forget to follow me, your host, Loralyn Mears, everywhere on social media. And how about throwing 4 or 5 stars our way if you're listening to Apple or Spotify? Subscribe to our show. And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?